What's up gamers, Fedboy here, and today we have another tutorial for you. We're going to be looking at Susano, God of the Summer Storm. First, let's just take a quick overview of his abilities. Just a quick note here, he pulls enemies and slices through them like a storm. That's kind of the little note that the Smite devs have given us about him for those who have never played this game before. But for the most part, he's an assassin character. He scales off of strength. You're going to be wanting to get penetration and power so that you can rip through your enemies. This is the kind of guy where you want to get in, but also get out. And we're going to talk about his movement later in the practice session. But for now, let's just go over his abilities. So his passive is called Storm's Edge. After using an ability, your next basic attack will add a Storm's Edge debuff stack to an enemy. At 1 to 2 stacks, enemies have reduced strength. At 3 to 4 stacks, enemies are also slowed. At 5 to 6 stacks, enemies also take 10% increased damage. So obviously, after using an ability, you're going to be wanting to get those basic attacks on your enemy. And the thing is, there's also ways to do this within his chain, which we'll talk about in the practice session. So being able to auto-cancel, if you don't know what that is, check out a couple other YouTubers that have made videos about auto-canceling, but I'll give you a short overview of that when I go into the practice session. But using your basic attacks after your abilities is going to be key to getting the most out of his kit. Let's move on to his first ability, Storm Kata. Strike 3 times in quick succession. The first attack deals physical damage to enemies in front of you. Second attack spins, dealing physical damage to enemies around you. The third attack dashes forward, dealing physical damage. All of these scale off of strength, so you're going to want to build strength for these. And you can use these in quick succession, or as I'll talk about in the practice session, you want to get your auto attacks within each strike to get the full power and full max of his kit. As you can see, it has all the ranges for each, the strike range, the cone range, and the spin radius, also the dash out. So just to give yourself an idea of how far you can get out and what his movement is like, we'll see all of that when we go into the practice session. The second ability is called Wind Siphon. Command the winds to blow, dealing physical damage to enemies in front of you. Enemies in the inner area are pulled towards you. So this is a good way to get back into a fight, especially if your enemy's trying to leave. You see them turn their backs to you. Definitely use Wind Siphon to pull them in, or if you just want to do a straight engage, feel free to use this as a way to get the fight rolling, or to disengage where someone's turned away, you pull them back towards you, and they think they have to fight, but you're already moved away with your other abilities. And we'll show this kind of in the practice session as well. His last normal ability is Jetstream. Throw a gust of wind projectile that stops on walls or the first enemy hit, creating a whirlwind. The whirlwind deals physical damage repeatedly. You can reactivate this ability to teleport to the whirlwind. So the good thing about this ability is it's a great way to engage or re-engage. It also applies a dot to the enemy, which will tick 6 times over 3 seconds, which is great to get that preliminary damage, but also as a way to make the enemy kind of second guess their movement ability, because once it's used, this is on you for 3 seconds. If you use your movement ability within this time frame and Susano teleports, you've lost your escape, because now he teleports right on top of you. And it's a great combo with your Wind Siphon as well, and then following up with either your 1 or your ultimate, which we'll talk about next. His ultimate ability is called Typhoon. Summon a Typhoon, which repeatedly deals physical damage as it grows in size. After reaching full size, a Typhoon is launched in the direction you are facing, dealing physical damage and knocking up enemies. Reactivate this ability to fire the Typhoon at its current size, dealing less damage. So typically you'd want to get that full 2 seconds so you get the full charge of it and the full damage application, but you can always fire it early if you want to get that CC off as well. Honestly, I like to use it at its full strength if I can. Very rarely will I ever fire it early, but the point is you want to get the max amount of abilities on your enemy, which also means you're also getting those auto cancels within the fight. So you're really trying to get the max possible damage out of his kit. You want to hit hard as Susano and pretty much make the enemy team fear every time you walk by. If you're not doing that, you're probably not playing him right, and you might need to practice. I know he's not my best character, but putting in the work for Susano can make you a pretty deadly jungler. So after that, let's take a look about his entire kit, and we'll see how it works in the practice session. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to give him a little bit of a build here. Let's give him to level 20 so we can have everything. Going to upgrade all of his abilities. Now let's go over my personal build for Susano. If I'm playing him in jungle, I'm probably going to go with Bumba's Cudgel, as it gets me cooldowns, and a little bit of health when doing damage. I want to also prioritize cooldown rate so I can get off more abilities as I want to beat, because that's the main point of my damage. So I'm going to have Jotun's Revenge on, I'm going to have the Crusher for that extra tick damage. But I want to also focus on the auto cancel between my one attacks. So I do want to have Hydra's Lament as well. I want to maximize penetration for fighting some of those bigger foes. So we're also going to get Heartseeker. And this last spot, these last two spots are kind of your preference on what you want to focus on when it comes to extra damage. I do want to have anti-heal in this current meta. We're seeing a lot of healers, especially a lot of self-healing and lifesteal from characters like Anubis or your Moja. So I want to be able to push that. Oh, and even Hercules. So I definitely want to push down some of the healing on my enemy team. So in this case, I'm also going to grab Brawler's Ruin. And this last spot could be a variety of other abilities or other items. You can have Pendulum Blade to reduce all your cooldowns by 3 seconds. You can also go Titan's Bane to get that extra 20% penetration. You can also go Tekokage for even more cooldown. I think for the sake of this video, I'm just going to throw in there Titan's Bane for extra penetration. And now let's go over to how you're going to fight some of the enemies you'll see out there. Let's make Ymir also big, so that's not just insta-killing him. So first I'm going to fire off without my ultimate, and we're going to show his main combo. We're going to open it up with Jetstream to close the distance. If we see the enemy pull away, we probably want to use Wind Siphon instead. But you can use it, it all depends really on the type of person you're fighting. If they immediately use their movement ability, you definitely want to get your Jetstream on them so you can teleport to where they go. But if they don't decide to use it up front, you can always use Wind Siphon to pull them in first and start getting off your combo. So since Ymir doesn't have that movement ability, kind of like a jump or a leap to get around things, we know he has a boosted movement where he can use his wall to wall jump himself. But in this case, he's not going to be using it, so we're going to start with our 3 instead of our 2. But I'm just going to show you how fast we can rack up those Storm's Edge buffs on Ymir using Storm Kata, Wind Siphon, and Jetstream. As you can see, I got 3 on him before he died, but that's just how much damage you can pull off as Susano. So let's do the full combo again. I'm going to use Jetstream, teleporting close, get my first auto cancel off, pull him back if he's running away, and then go right into my Storm Kata strikes. Let's go in a different order now. Let's just say he's not going to be moving away, but I'm still going to be getting up all of my auto cancels. Now the cool thing is you can hold down left click while using Susano, so you're getting his basic attacks off, and still in between those strikes, fire off your Storm Kata strikes. So let's go with 1. And we get quite an amount of damage from that, 1398. And you want to use this as a way to keep your combo going, to apply those Storm's Edge stacks on the enemy, and just burst them down. So we're going to open up with Wind Siphon, and then go right into our Storm Kata strikes. Almost 2,000 damage. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, so now you know the combo. Let's do the full thing with your ultimate to dive in, and let's destroy this guy. Alright. Hope you like these little tips and tricks on how to play Susano. Best of luck out there, and again, happy smiting.